Manqoba, and welcome to Primetime News. Now, what's the real story here? We hear of a body found lying close by next to Winnie Mandela's home, and the police minister saying it was actually the MKMVA who have been firing the shots. What have you heard so far?
Well, what we do know is that last night, outside the home of the late struggle icon, there were reports of excessive shooting. Now, you'll recall that earlier during the week, as early as Monday, in fact, there were random shootings that were happening outside the house. And of course, we also, as the media, did witness some of it, And we did see some people shooting, some of them dressed in attire of the MKMVA. But of course, we cannot confirm whether it was actually MKMVA members that were actually responsible for it. I remember that on Monday, during a live crossing, as you have seen in that package before, we were doing a live crossing when there was a sudden ring of gunshots around the environment. And of course, my colleague there, Aldrin Sempier, even mentioning during the crossing that this was happening. So it has been happening occasionally, but as soon as we got to about Wednesday, this is where it started to get even more worse, because now you'll find that it will just happen occasionally. It will take a few minutes. It's not just a few shots. It will last for a few minutes. I remember at one point on Wednesday we had to try and find cover inside the broadcast van because there was just a man who was coming in our direction shooting in the air, and we actually feared for our lives at that time.
So you were there throughout, right? And did you perhaps identify the shooters? Were they wearing some sort of regalia or certain gear?
Well, it was very hard to at first to see some of the shooters because they would do it behind the trees. But then as we got to Wednesday, the man that I'm talking about that I saw was dressed in what appears to be attire that is worn by MKMVA members. And he was shooting in the air, but coming towards our direction. So that's what we saw on Wednesday. But of course, the reports that were according to the reports, yesterday, some of the neighbors told us that they saw what appeared to be members of the MKMVA shooting. And I remember one of the neighbors telling us that it was so bad that they literally had to take their children into the house and to lock the doors because they say that they feared for their lives. I also spoke to a businesswoman who was there, who has set up a small shop out near Mama Winnie's house. And she said that she had to take a business and take her stuff and go and try to be safe inside the house. Even today, she says, she's still affected by that she didn't even open her business. So apparently the reports we're getting is that there was excessive shooting, and some of the neighbors even alleging that they saw some rifles that looked like R5s that were being used. So there's also suspicion that police as well might have been involved in this.
So are these just random shootings normally associated with criminal elements, or is it just shootings that are normally associated, maybe gun salutes that are perhaps used to honor a very important or prominent figure who died?
Well, it's a known secret that this is sort of like a tradition of Umkhonto soldiers to, to fire gunshots in the air just as a salute to an honored person. And of course, it's a long-known secret that, that is the fact. But of course, in this case, we believe also that this was done in salute of Mama Winnie Mandela. I mean, when the gunshots you go on Monday, the people around, the mourners, and some of the ANC members will ululate when those gunshots went off. So sort of like a celebration of the life. So I believe that this time it was part of that celebration, part of that honoring, part of that unofficial salute to Mama that was happening.
Yeah, well, we hope to get all the answers during that press briefing by the police minister, later on tonight. Let's not talk about the actual memorial itself. Winnie Mandela's death has surely united South Africans. We saw different political parties paying tribute and some of them flocking to the home of Mama Winnie.
And what's been very fascinating is to see political parties putting their differences aside.
Right.
I mean, they've all been flocking there, coming to the house, and also relating their stories of how Mama inspired them in one way or the other. Yeah. The dear leader Musi Maimane saying that as a young boy who grew up in Soweto, he used to look up to Mama as somebody who really gave her all, a selfless leader who gave her all in the fight against apartheid. Julius Malema speaking about her as being a mentor, as being somebody who he looked up to, So we've seen an outpouring of love from all sorts of South Africans, black and white and Indian, and of course even tourists coming there to show their support and also offer some words of sympathy to the family. So certainly this has united South Africans across all spectrums and across all corners, because we've had people as far as Cape Town just coming outside the house to pay their tribute. And
even the former President Thabo Mbeki himself having nothing but praises for the late Mama Winnie, despite a very strained relationship. Indeed.
I mean, that has been an issue that has been criticized by many of the ANC officials who have said that, you know, his words may have been a bit, you know, harsh at a point where Mama cannot respond for herself. But of course, again, the foundation issuing another tribute to Mama, saying, of course, praising her work that she had done. So certainly there's been an outpouring of support, as well as, you know, grief for the death of the late struggle icon. All right, Manqoba, thank you so much. You've been covering that story for us for the past week, and he joins us now in studio.